Hey everybody! My name is Vic and I'm a freelance illustrator and also an art ambassador for Royal Talons. Today I'm here to talk to you about the properties of Ecoline watercolor markers. By the end of the video, you should be able to incorporate these techniques into your own illustrations. So before we begin the demonstration, I'm just going to go over the features of Ecoline. Ecoline is extremely similar to other standard watercolors in terms of painting. They are water-soluble, dye-based, and available in 60 highly saturated colors. They are compatible with other watercolors due to their gum Arabic binder. Ecoline is available in two different forms, both in a jar and in a brush pen marker. Without further ado, let's jump right into the demonstration. The first step is going to be to block in your midtones. You can do this by using the Ecoline watercolor markers and plugging in any values that you see that are in the mid-tone range. When you start your painting, apply your colors loosely and deliberately. They do not need to be precise. Next, you will blend these tones out with water by feathering over the dry ink with a wet brush. You can also apply the Ecoline markers onto a wet surface for a diffused, softer application. If you've overblended a few areas with water, you can always go back in and block in extra color as needed. After you've finished your midtones, the next step is going to be to add in some shadows. The Ecoline colors are extremely saturated and transparent, so they can be built up as needed, or alternatively, they can be diluted with water for a more subtle color. These markers allow you to make lots of different style choices as you paint. If you like a bolder, more graphic look, you can choose to keep your marker line sharp. If you're going for a more photorealistic look, all you need to do is soften the marker lines with a wet brush or colorless blender. Some illustrated styles use a combination of techniques. After your midtones and shadows are in place, the next step is going to be to refine your edges. These markers have an extremely precise brush tip on them that allows you to effortlessly refine lines, edges, or add in small details. Due to the highly saturated nature of these inks, it is very simple to paint washes. Just take a wet brush and simply push the color out from an area that you recently filled in with a marker. The wetter the ink, the less chance that any lines will be left behind. Although the Ecoline markers work on a very wide variety of surfaces, if using techniques shown in this video, it'll be important to start with a surface that can take a fair amount of water and build up. I personally use the Rembrandt 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. But if you don't like any texture in your piece, I highly recommend trying hot press. For the next step, I like to use white gouache or acrylic ink to add in some highlights. In this instance, I am using Amsterdam acrylic ink in titanium white. The ink sits right on top of the vivid color and adds any needed bright contrast to your illustration. It is both very fluid and opaque. Lastly, I'm going to take my colorless blender and soften a few areas of my illustration that I wanted blended a little bit more. Thank you kindly for watching this little demo on the Ecoline watercolor markers today with me. I really appreciate it. I hope that you had fun and enjoyed the process. Also, a big thank you to Royal Talons for having me here today.